Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Your Mark on the World show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe. I'm a Forbes contributor covering social entrepreneurship and impact investing, and we have a remarkable show for you today. We have with us today Marcus Bullock, who's the CEO of Flikshop, along with Tulane Montgomery, who is the managing partner at New Profit. We're going to have a great discussion about prison reform and all kinds of good things, so stick with us.
Welcome to Your Mark on the World, bringing you another changemaker with champion of social good, Devin D. Thorpe.
Marcus, Tulane, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
We're thrilled to have both of you.
Thank you so much.
Marcus, you're doing something remarkable and interesting. Tell us about your program of converting images, digital images from phones into postcards. Tell us how that works and why you're doing that.
No, thank you so much. And again, thank you for having me on the show. We're really excited about the work that we're doing with Flikshop. The Flikshop, it's a mobile app and it's very easy to understand. We're excited about being able to connect families that are impacted by incarceration. The way that our mobile application works, our users are able to take a picture, add some quick text, press send, and for 99 cents, we print that picture and that text on a real tangible photo postcard and mail it to any person in any youth detention center, jail, prison, or immigration facility. So we're the guys that connect the families back to one of the 2.3 million people that are suffering in those cells without communication with their family members or loved ones, and who are really missing out on that favorite post of you and your puppy on Facebook.
Marcus, let's take a little bit of a step back. Tell us a little bit about the restrictions on communications that make this tool necessary or important.
Yeah, so it's interesting, the environment behind the prison walls. It's one of the places where most of us don't think that communication really not only needs to exist, but it should actually thrive. But while we're steadily building a communication form like social media and Twitter and Instagram, or even the creativeness behind the texting platforms or even emails, the reality of it is that those technologies do not exist inside of those prison cells. So you have 2.3 million people inside of these cells. 95% of them are going to come home one day, and they don't have the communication that they will need to actually have to prepare for that reentry with their loved one. There's a wife somewhere who doesn't have, she isn't able to share that moment with her husband. There's a mom who on Christmas morning, she can't share with, she's done it all her life with her son, but now because he made a decision or the economies of scale placed him in this place where he isn't privy to Christmas morning with her. And we want to be able to make sure that the same ways that we communicate, on our online platforms, we're able to bring that to one of the places where the internet unfortunately doesn't reach.
Well, it's really important work that you're doing. I wonder, Tulane, if you take a minute and just provide us with a little bit of context for what's going on. We often talk about or hear the phrase passed around of mass incarceration. We're past peak incarceration, I think, in the United States, but we've got a president who seems intent on locking more people up. But give us a little bit of a sense of what's going on.
Sure, absolutely, Devin. In this country, in the United States, as an advanced democratic society, we have the unfortunate legacy of being a nation that has incarcerated massive numbers of our residents and citizens and the people who live on this land. And, as Marcus said, 2.3 million people who are living in America are doing so behind jail and prison walls. And so part of this mass incarceration problem that we have as a country is that, a critical mass of our leading thinkers, business leaders, family members, healers, teachers, they are incarcerated and they are disconnected from community and disconnected from the economy and disconnected from civic networks. And so when the 95+% of that 2.3 million people come home, the idea of being isolated, completely isolated from family and supportive networks during incarceration make the likelihood of successful reentry quite low. And there's some really compelling research that speaks to how important communication during incarceration is for rehabilitation, which was the original intent of our jail and prison system, rehabilitation, the idea that all people might have the opportunity for redemption and for a new chance. And we've moved from a redemption and rehabilitation focus to solely punitive focus in ways that have exponential impact beyond the period of incarceration. So if you are incarcerated for any period of time, and then you want to come back to your home, to your community, and to the economy, the opportunity for employment is dramatically diminished. The opportunity in some cases to vote and be an active participant in our civic systems is diminished. The stigma associated with a choice or a mistake made at one period in time, a snapshot of a person's life, becomes the defining identity for that person in ways that are really damaging for communities and for our larger society. So when we talk about the problem of mass incarceration, we're talking about punishment that in many ways exceeds what may be a mistake, a bad choice, or a crime, but what happened to redemption, what happened to new chances, what happened to leveraging the assets and talents of our society.
Yeah, Marcus, back to you for just a minute. How are agencies that support and help people who are leaving jail, leaving prison with their re-entry, reintegration into society, how can they use your Flikshop?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that question, because when we first built Flickshop, it was really designed for the family members and really figuring out, being very thoughtful about creating ways that the family members can engage with their loved ones that were there. What we've learned over the years of launching, I mean, since 2012, after onboarding, hundreds of thousands of users, now we're learning that there are agencies and program directors who are using the tool for announcements, reentry methods, tips, and encouraging messages. And really, because while we're known as the Instagram for prison, we want to be able to find the quickest and easiest way for us to be able to disseminate short, quick messages or announcements and notifications to the people who need them the most. And I think that the interesting thing about that is that while we hadn't really thought about this as a potential reentry method, the platform is being used now for one of the places where we're seeing the biggest noticeable difference in the technology infrastructure and the uses of it inside of these organizations who normally want to communicate with these people but can't.
As we think about mass incarceration, Tulane, one of the issues that I think we have to at least address is the aspect of racial dynamics there. It seems that a disproportionate number of African-American men end up in jail and prison. And that has implications for the entire community, especially when a high proportion of men in some states can't vote. Give us just a little bit of a sense, an update on those issues.
Well, it's a really important point, Devin. It's, the issue of mass incarceration it's about how do we as a nation provide opportunities for people who have, in some cases, made, significant mistakes, re-enter society and contribute, because people have gifts, right, that extend beyond a moment in time. But there is this disproportionate incarceration of people of color in the United States that is a really painful part of the legacy of our incarceration system. And, there's a whole piece of work around what people call the school to prison pipeline, which means that when we look at these disproportionate rates of incarceration for Black and brown young men, we have to take note that it begins at a tragically early stage in public education, where the sort of consequences for behavior is disproportionately punitive when it comes to Black and brown boys. And so the young boy who is, a healthy boy who has a hard time sitting in his seat listening to a didactic lecture without interruption or engagement, he gets referred to, the principal's office, and that gets noted on his record. And then he is then over time referred to, having a set of special needs around behavior challenges. And it just grows, where then, we see a really tragic pattern of young boys who are labeled as behaviorally challenged and in a young age being really targeted in many ways for incarceration as young men. And so, we have to look at this with a systems view, Devin, is part of what I'm saying, that this is not about a set of individuals making bad decisions. This is about a macro set of systems, from education to housing to health, that feed into the prison pipeline in ways that really are impacted by race bias that's built in at the institutional level.
That's great. Now, I mean, it's tragic, but a great and important point, Tulane. But Marcus, you've had an extraordinary young career. You've won all kinds of entrepreneurship awards. You're the real deal. What's the most important lesson you've learned so far in your entrepreneurial career?
To fail fast. One of the things that I love most about Flickshop is that I don't know what I'm doing whatsoever, right? And because I don't know what I'm doing, I'll pause there to kind of sort of tell you what I mean when I say I don't know what I'm doing. The reality of it is that while I had a startup before this that was successful, a construction company there, I had another business before that was successful, I do some real estate investing. These things prepare me for this moment. But what I'm learning is that as my companies continue to evolve and we continue to hire and we onboard and we scale and we're reaching other new heights, I'm learning that there are elements that are just natural. They're going to happen. Fail fast, learn from them very, very swiftly. Focus on one thing in 1 week sprints and really, really, really go hard on it, and you'll come out on the other side. The interesting thing about coming out of a prison cell, though, Devin, is that, to be honest, I am able to fail a lot faster than most because the likelihood of me even being here to be on a call like this with you or being able to build the technologies that put me on the panels and the platforms on the big stages that I've been on, there have been unlikely. The likelihood of it happening is very minimal. It's minimal. So because of that, I'm able to take these kinds of the things that normally would cripple someone and say, this is the reason why I know that I'm going to succeed. One, because worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, you didn't expect me to succeed anyway. and second, what it does is it gives me the tenacity. I mean, I'm able to take the tenacious spirit that took me out of a cell back there, bring it into this business environment, be successful, but also take it back into the same sales where I've come from and tell other men and women that you guys can do it too. I'm not an anomaly. I'm just someone that works hard and understands that failing fast is a part of the entrepreneurial journey, and I rush to it. I run to fail.
Excellent. Now, why did you pursue this current project? I suspect that there's got to be a personal connection, Marcus, but maybe not. Maybe it's a matter of principle for you. Why this project?
Well, because, Devin, let me tell you, getting mail in prison is like hitting the lottery. I mean, your name on mail is hitting the Powerball, because that's the one thing that you have to know that someone on the planet cares about you, right? It's the only way to do it. We don't have there's no Facebook or texting or Instagram there. And so I knew that when I came home and I started to, start these businesses, and there were men. I mean, I went to prison when I was 15 years old. So I grew up, as a teenager inside of a prison cell. The men that were there with me became almost like my brothers, right? It was like how when you go to college and you get that best friend at 18, 19, and then they carry you for the rest of your life. Those were the men that were there. And when you're there, you learn that one, people are people and they have stories behind the reasons why they're there. But also when I'm home now, I'm not forgetting those men and remembering how important mail is. And I'm like, you know what, dude, I want to write you a letter. I want to send you a picture. The likelihood of me taking that photo of the beach that I just went to, or, Thanksgiving dinner, finding a sheet of paper, finding an envelope, Lord knows I don't know where to buy a stamp. All of those things together combined allow me to just say, I'm going to do it, but never actually do it.
Yeah.
We wanted to figure out a way to do it easily. And I told my friends, dude, if I can just text you, my life would be so much easier. There wasn't a way for us to be able to do that, so we built one.
Excellent. Tulane, what's your superpower?
My superpower? Let's see. Marcus is laughing. We've had this conversation. I think one of my superpowers is recognizing the genius and brilliance of other people like Marcus and others who are part of the Unlocked Futures cohort, right? Like, part of what I love to do and am pretty good at doing is recognizing that, okay, here are the 25 things that Marcus has figured out already. And here are the 3 supports that could help Marcus take what he can already do well and scale it and grow it and sustain it over time. So, my family jokes, they called me Olivia Pope, that character from Scandal. Not all the drama, but the fact that she can solve a problem and find the resources needed to make something better, that's one of my superpowers.
I hope you don't often have to solve murders.
No, thankfully not.
No.
Thankfully not.
Now, Marcus, what is your superpower?
Oh, I wasn't expecting that. I think my superpower is being able to inspire. I think it's very important. If you would have asked me before if I thought it was a worthwhile thing to do, to add as a characteristic of Marcus, I would have told you no, right? We all do that in our own incremental ways. But what I'm learning is that there aren't many people that have come out of the situations that we've come out of that allow themselves to be vulnerable enough to say, hey, this is one of the ways I talked about before, I failed, but also one of the phoenix out of the ashes kind of sort of thing, and saying, hey, look, you guys can do it too. If I can do it, it's really, really challenging for you to come into my office and tell me that you can't do it. I was 15 years old when I went in there, Devin, and now I'm 36 years old, and we're building one of the top apps in the app stores, connecting people one Flikshop postcard at a time, every step of the way. I want to be able to inspire more people to say that they can go along this entrepreneurial journey and really succeed.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And Marcus, we better wrap up. It's getting dark. It's the middle of the night there, son. Appreciate you hanging with us there.
Absolutely.
Before you go, Marcus, tell us how people can learn more about Flikshop and connect with you personally to learn more about your journey.
Yeah, so all of our social channels are at Flikshop. Flikshop is spelled Flikshop. I encourage all of you guys to download the mobile application inside of your iOS App Store and your Android Play Store. Devin, I often get the question, Marcus, I love Flikshop. I love the meaning behind it. I love the purpose behind Flikshop, but I don't know anyone in prison. How can I get involved? And I tell them, I've had some incredible angels in my life, the people who blessed me tremendously. And John Legend was one of them out of the Unlock Futures campaign. And so what we did was we created the Flikshop Angels mailing campaign that allows every person in every cell to get mail in the year 2018. And you can find that out at flikshopangels.com. That's Flikshop angels.com. And then you can find me personally on LinkedIn under Marcus Bullock.
Fantastic. Well, I thank you all for taking the time to be with me tonight. I appreciate your insights and want to wish you every success in the great work you're doing, both at New Profit and at Flikshop.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Devin.
Thank you, Devin.
All right. Let's do some good.
Thank you for listening. This podcast was recorded via Google Hangouts on Air and is available at youtube.com/Devin Thorpe. Subscribe to this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes by searching for Your Mark on the World. Every weekday, Devin hosts a CEO, celebrity, entrepreneur, or other changemaker here on the Your Mark on the World show to inspire and prepare you to make your mark. Devin is a champion of social good, writing about, advocating for, and advising people who are doing good. He is a Forbes contributor who is a recognized thought leader in social entrepreneurship, impact investing, and crowdfunding. To book Devin as a speaker, visit devinthorpe.com. Learn more about Devin's work at yourmarkontheworld.com.